Welcome to Poland Daily History with me, Nicholas Richardson. And in these episodes, we're drawing historical parallels to see why Poland is so steadfast in its support of Ukraine since the invasion by Russia on the 24th of February last year. And to discuss this in more detail, I'm delighted to be joined in the studio by Adam Starzyński. Adam, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And I think last episode, we ended at a point where we were talking about the possibility of some volunteers flying F-16, were they available, in Ukraine?
Yes, it came after an interview with one of America's most experienced F-16 fighter pilots, who stated that he was very willing to go to Ukraine and fly one of those F-16s if they would be transferred. Of course, this is the next step. We have been playing this game from the start of the war, so to say, that initially they said that infantry fighting vehicles such as the German Marder or the British Bradley could absolutely not be sent because that would be a dangerous escalation of the war. The same thing was said about the HIMARS, multiple launch rocket artillery, rocket artillery. Or later on, naturally, the entire saga with the Western tanks that, for some reason, apparently the Polish modernized T-72s, the so-called PT-91 Twardy, those could be sent, but Western modern tanks, for some reason, were escalatory. And after that, they were naturally sent. And now we're at that stage with the jets, and it looks like they will be coming in the coming months. And by coming, I don't mean that they will be sent immediately to Ukraine, but that finally the West will start training Ukrainian pilots on a large scale in the West on F-16s. And after 6-8 months, depending on how long it will take for the pilots to master these aircraft, then they will be sent to Ukraine. Fortunately, Ukraine has now received the first 4 MiG-29 fighter jets sent by Slovakia a few days ago. Poland has declared that they are also sending initially a batch of 4, while the other are being repaired, renovated, and will be sent in future tranches to Ukraine as well. So in total, Slovakia is sending 13. Poland is probably sending somewhere around 20. So altogether, these 33 planes will be a bridging solution that will give the Ukrainian Air Force enough firepower to withstand the coming months. And hopefully, if the Western allies decide on sending those F-16s, then the MiGs will hold the ground, or rather the air, so to say, in the meanwhile. And if we look at historical parallels, there is an interesting case here in Poland when Poland reappeared on the political map of Europe.
Yes, I was going to mention that, and this very early air squadron.
Yes, the Kosciuszko Escadrille consisted of American pilots who had been flying in Europe during the First World War. And after the end of the war, some of them remained in Europe for a while, others went home, but decided to come back and help Poland in the Polish Bolshevik War. The nascent Polish Air Force was still very young. They had some machines, but having enough experienced, especially pilots, was an issue. So this group of Americans that came over, including some Polish Americans as well, they were very helpful to the Polish cause. And in many ways, we had a somewhat similar situation in which we had this Soviet Red Army that consisted of enormous number of men, but that were quite poorly equipped. They would conduct the same type of human wave attack tactics that we can see today being employed by the Russians in Ukraine. And the Poles had to counter it by either having better tactics on the battlefield, having more modern weapons, having better trained soldiers. They had to offset this advantage that the Russians had in pure numbers. And the Air Force was one of these tools that they used for it. So the Ukrainians are hoping that modern Western fighter jets could be such a solution. Also, these volunteers, naturally, it's up to any soldier. They would never be ordered to go to Ukraine, but many of these men are, well, for the first time they are, for the first thing they're valiant people who are simply brave, and when they see a just cause, they are tempted to go.
Adam, as usual, the clock in the corner of the room has defeated us, so I'll have to ask you to pause there, but we'll pick it up next time. There we are, as usual, defeated by time, but fear not, if you join us next time, as we hope you will, we'll pick up the story here on Poland Daily History. In the meantime, thank you for watching and see you next time.